Hello everyone, welcome back. Thanks for clicking play and checking out another video. Today's video I'd like to cover on how to get your crested gecko to eat on its own, whether that be your regular crested gecko powder diet, or you might be introducing insects to it for the first time and having a little problem with them taking to that. So I will flip the camera around and let you see what's worked for me on how to get them to eat insects. I will just talk about the powder crested gecko diet method. That's quite easy, and I don't feel any need to show that on video to prolong how long the video is. So some crested geckos you are gonna have no problems with whatsoever. They take their regular diet or else insects. Those are the ones we won't be covering, obviously, because how fun would that be to watch? I'm going to concentrate on the ones that aren't easy and might need a little bit of convincing, a little bit extra work. And those ones need a little more consistency and a little more hands-on. So first off, I'll talk about their regular crested powder diet. They mix with water. Easy enough. You put the crested gecko in front of the bowl, give it a little bit of time. If it's a day or two they're not eating it, you see that there's no change in the level or any little tongue marks in the food, then you might need a little bit of help with getting them going. And a few different ways. I would take the gecko, put it close to the food bowl, food source, where you consistently put that little food bowl. Keep it in the same spot. I wouldn't move it around. And then might have to put a little bit of like maybe a stir stick or something, back end of a spoon maybe. Dip a little bit of food on that and then bring it closer to the gecko's nose and see if it'll lick. If it doesn't, you could just dab its nose with a little bit of food from that little stir stick or anything that you're using. So it'll hopefully get the idea that that's where the food is and that's where you go to eat. And you give that another try. You might have to do that a few nights in a row, maybe a week in a row, maybe. They're all different, so there's no exact formula of this, but that will eventually take and they will eat on their own. And the next is the insects, that they vary a little bit with how easy they take to it. And it's not a necessity that they have to eat insects. There's definitely benefits to them eating insects. I find they definitely grow a little bit quicker. They seem to get a little more energy, I think, and mine had anyways act a little more motivated to move around without feeding them insects. They were a little more just sluggish, I found. I don't know if that's true across the board, but I have 6 in total, and I've seen the change in the 5 of them anyways. The personalities change. They seem to move around a little more strength in them. So I value feeding insects to them. I think it's great. So it's not something you want to do every day with their feeding. It is more of a treat thing when they're adults, and more of a little more extra you might give them as juveniles growing up, reaching adulthood. So 2 times a week, maybe 3 times a week at the most. I think that would be the most I would recommend doing that. So what we'll do, we're gonna flip the camera around and I'll go over how I got mine to all successfully eat insects and go from there. All right, so it's nighttime here now and the lights have just went off above their enclosures, so they will start to be coming out of their hiding spots and looking for food. I don't see that one out there, but yeah, here is Blaze. He's already sitting out on his ledge, looking out, waiting for bugs to fall out of the sky. And Fire, I don't see him, but we're gonna go back to Blaze here. I'm gonna feed Blaze. He's one of my best eaters. Really motivated to eat anything that moves in front of him. So again, this is the kind of more of a perfect example of how good of an eater they can be with insects. Pretty funny. He could just eat them every night if I gave them to him, but again, just 2, maybe 3 times a week is most you probably should give them bugs. And make sure they keep eating their powder crested gecko diet, the Pangea, Rapashi, whatever ones you use. I prefer to tong feed, and that's what I would highly recommend with them. Especially when you have one like this guy, he will just. I threw crickets in a couple times, and he would just kind of dive bomb to the ground and just start chomping at absolutely anything. He constantly had a mouthful of substrate that I was trying to dig out. It was kind of crazy. So I stopped putting insects in to walk around because I just know he would just miss them a few times and just eat the cocoa fiber that I have on the ground. So tong feeding is the safest, I would say, and that's what I would recommend. And so yeah, we'll just let him do his thing, finish eating, and I will go on here to the next one, which he does eat insects now, but this was the one that I had the most trouble with getting to eat him. So what I did, I took him out of his enclosure. I had the lights on just because of recording, but when you do this, make sure that it's kind of dimmer lighting. That way they can see things move better. Start off with some slower moving bugs, maybe some mealworms, waxworms. I start off with waxworms just as they would wiggle around but not get away. You don't want to do this with a cricket, obviously, because that would just be insane, having crickets jumping all over the place and trying to control that. So yeah, it might take a while. I maybe sat out every couple nights for 10-15 minutes, just kind of moving the insects around with tongs, just trying to have them catch their eye. And if that didn't work, I went on to another bug, tried that. Here I'm just going to be cautious because he probably will eat this now, because he does eat them easily now. But so yeah, just try a different bug, and if that doesn't work, there's a method that worked for me really well, and this is what got this guy onto eating bugs. Is I would just take some of their Pangea crested gecko diet, get a cricket, dip its head in there, and put it in front of him. And I knew he would eat the Pangea. He would just start off licking that food off of the cricket. Then he just took a bite and grabbed onto the cricket and started chewing that. Did it again. It worked out perfect. He took to that really, really well. So you could go right to this method if you want, but it's gonna no exact one's gonna work perfect. But again, just dip the bug in there and put it in front, and hopefully they'll take to it. So I just thought it's something familiar that they eat, and putting that scent on top of an insect would work. But another thing, if it doesn't gross you out, you could take a cricket and kind of crush it a little bit to get some of the juices out of it. Maybe crush its head and then kind of rub that on their nose, and that way they'll get a taste of it and know that what you're putting in front of them is actually food. But yeah, just different bugs. Try crickets are the most common, waxworm, mealworms, small superworms maybe, dubia roaches if you have access to those where you live. And yeah, just be patient, keep trying. It might take you 10-15 minutes every couple nights just to sit and try it, but if you want it to work and you don't mind spend that little bit of time with them, they'll take off. And I see them really accelerate well by having bugs in their diet. But I hope this helps, and if anyone's frustrated having problems getting them going, hope some of this advice might help you out there and get yours going. But it pays off. But I think, yeah, we'll end the video here. And again, I appreciate you coming by, checking out a video, watching through. And if you have any comments, feel free, just put them down. I'll do my best to get to them quickly. And yeah, again, thanks for checking things out. And we'll finish off with watching fire And yeah, we'll catch you again.